Okay, hello everyone. Thank you to be here. So now we're together with Zoom, with YouTube, and we're together to share the Dharma. So I hope you hear me correctly. If not, you tell me. And so we start with refuge and bodhicitta, as always, because as always, we have to turn our mind in that direction, the direction of enlightenment, direction of the Dharma, and we'll speak about that, looking at the four Dharmas of Gompapa, because the first thing is to turn our mind to the Dharma. So this is what we do here. Hello, Ele, who join us. And hello friends also on YouTube, maybe, we never know. And so first we take refuge, we develop bodhicitta. I will recite in Tibetan, but if you know the words, so you can recite them also, sure. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. You just think that you wish to reach enlightenment. Reaching enlightenment means to be free from suffering. From the confusion. It's more confusion than suffering, in fact, because from confusion, suffering arises. So it means that to be totally free from the root or the roots, because maybe there is many, but to be free from these roots of suffering. But because we add the bodhicitta, so enlightened mind, so we wish that this will be the same for all sentient beings. So may all them be free from these roots of suffering. This is the meaning. So during that recitation, we can also just be seated like this and make the wishes if you prefer. So it's really the most important point is the intention. Otherwise, just words are words, but what happened in the mind. So this is really important, as you know. O Sangye Chetang Tsoge Chonam Lai Chanchum Pratu Dane Chansui Dage Jinso Kepe Sunam Ke Dola Pinchiri Sangye Dombai Sho Simchin Deva Tang Deve Ju Tang Den Prai Jurachi Dunga Tang Dunga Ke Ju Tang Tawarai Jurachi Dunga Mede Dewa Tamba Tang Mendra Warai Jurachi Nirin Cha Tang Tang Troe Tang Yum Chen Bola Ne Parai Jurachi Polen Sawe Lama Rempai Che Dange Che Ura Peme Danjo Karen Chen Pu Gone Che Sum Te Ko Sum Tung Ngo Tum Sa To Sa. Okay, I just drink a little bit of tea. If you have a cup of tea, it's good also. So like that, you are comfortable. So we're together here to, in fact, mainly to share the Dharma. But before sharing the Dharma, I would like to just explain the last prayer Palden sawe lama rinpoche dagi chiwur peme denchung la kadin chimpurgo ne jesung te kusung tuging rupsel to sol. So this last prayer is important in fact, not because we have to recite it absolutely, but it's important for many reasons. Because Palden sawe lama rinpoche means the precious root guru. So the precious root guru means that at that moment when we recite this prayer, so it's a short Guru Yoga, in fact. And what is a Guru Yoga? It can be many things, but it's also a moment where we put the master on the top of our head, and we ask for his blessing. And so this is, let's say, the technique. And after we think that he melts in light, and this light melts in us, and we become indifferentiate with the root guru. Okay, so this is the technique. But there is a symbolism, a symbol behind this, quite clear, in fact. It means that we have to receive the Dharma. We have to get inspired with the Dharma. And so when we understand that, it means that, as I spoke with Pavel once about that, it's like a triangle always. And so it means that you have the Dharma or the root guru, it's the same, and you have the one who speak. So today it's me, but it can be anyone else. And there is those that are listening and reflecting. So it means that it's really like a triangle. So making this prayer, it means that this is the top of the triangle. It's to say that, okay, there is something that all of us can relate it to. So it means the source of the Dharma, the source of the teaching. And so this is quite important, because it means that the speaker, because today I'm the speaker, it's not the source of the Dharma, absolutely not. The source of the Dharma is the root guru that represent the Dharma itself, that represent the Dharma of realization, we can say. Not just words, but in that case, the root guru represents really the Dharma of realization. So it means the ultimate Dharma, or the truth of the Dharma, the real truth of the Dharma. The speaker, or the speaker, the one who speaks, so myself in that case, use only words to convey this meaning, but the meaning doesn't belong to that speaker, absolutely not. The meaning belongs to the Dharma itself. So it's very important, because it means that together, you and me were together to in fact to reflect about the Dharma, or on the Dharma, and to to exchange also, because we can exchange. We can say also that we study together, and so we study together something that it's not totally behind, like heaven or something that we cannot reach. It's not that, but something that it can be the reference for what we are reflecting about, because it means that there is something that exists. So the Dharma, let's say the Dharma, and so we have our own relation to that. It means that anyone can always check in the Dharma. So it's really important. I always remember Lama Tenzong telling me that when you teach, you always teach with a text, because it's not you that teach. You are just transmitting the words of the text. So you are transmitting the Dharma, but you are not the Dharma in a way. And so for extraordinary masters, like Lama Tenzong, of course, Karmapa, Shiragatse Rinpoche, Shamapan, or whoever who is really an accomplished master, maybe it can be different. It can be different because they can themselves become the Dharma. And so you can say that there are the Dharma, there are the Buddha, there are the Dharma, there are the Sangha themselves, sure. But when you see Karmapa, in his website, when he speaks about all these texts with the name My Thoughts, it's interesting to see how careful he is in order to present his thoughts, saying that they are not a teaching, they are just his thought. So it's quite amazing, surprising, because when we read, I don't know for you, but when I read Karmapa's words, for me, it's clearly a teaching. So at the first thought, I can even have questions about that, but why he's saying this. And I think he's saying this for exactly the reason I mentioned. It means that he wants to make clear that he's reflecting, he's transmitting the Dharma, but the Dharma in itself exists always available for everyone. And so we can relate it to this Dharma. And I think it's always very important, because so like that, we are clear. So about what we are doing together, we are doing exactly this. We are trying to reach the Dharma, to understand the Dharma. So it's more that thinking that personally I am explaining the Dharma. I'm not sure. I just share with you what I understand. But you can also, and you have to, for sure, you have your own understanding of the Dharma. And so like that, it makes us more like seeker of the truth of the Dharma, seeker that they want to be together in order to seek the main understanding or the main meaning of the Dharma. So together we do that today, and we continue from last session. We try to understand the four dharmas of Gampopa. And so I send you with the group the text, the commentary I'm using. As you certainly understood, there is many commentaries on these four dharmas of Gampopa. So we are now using this one because I thought it can be good. But in the future, if we want, or if we want, or if we think it's useful, so we can use also other commentaries. So we'll go through that commentary, and after we can use another one, because all these commentaries are interesting, because it's like looking the mountain from a different angle. So we always perceive something different. And so we always understand something different, not only perceiving. So in that case, this commentary come from the name is Je Dakpo Rinpoche Tsokchu Chenmo. We spoke about that. Tsokchu Chenmo means the Great Assembly. So it's also a way to speak about Tsokchu Chenmo. Tsokchu Chenmo means the Great Assembly. Means also we can understand that Gampopa spoke to a Great Assembly. So this is possible, but also it's a way of saying that we put together, we gather all the teaching, or a certain amount of teaching of Gampopa, and inside or among them, so there is this teaching. So this one comes from the fourth Karmapa Chukitakpa. So it's also interesting for that. So the first part, we saw that it was like an introduction, saying that, in fact, we have to turn our mind to the Dharma. But in Gampopa's words, he says that the Dharma has to go to the Dharma. So, and we'll speak about that today mainly. And he said something very interesting in the let's say forward or introduction. He said that in order to do that, we have to get rid of the confusion. And get rid of the confusion, he said exactly this: no matter what positive Dharma activity you engage in, by hearing, reflecting, listening, expounding, preserving, retaining, accumulating, purifying, meditating, accomplishing, and so on. So the list is quite long. So it means that really whatever we do, sorry. So in order that Dharma practice does not become stained with karma or karma, one needs a Dharma practice that turns toward the genuine Dharma. One may then ask, what is karma? And so this was, or this is, because this question is always of actuality. So this question is very important because it means that making the Dharma that goes to the Dharma, and the formulation is quite interesting because usually we think we practice the Dharma. Yeah, sure, but it means that what we do. So are we making that the Dharma goes to the Dharma? It means that are we making our Dharma practice going to the Dharma? So it's, we can say it's a short way of saying this, saying the Dharma should go to the Dharma. Because the Dharma, what we speak when we say the Dharma should go to the Dharma. So the Dharma means our Dharma practice. So the Dharma practice has to go to the Dharma. And he said that in order to do that, because we have to do that, so we don't have to be stained by the karma. And what is karma? And he did here in the text a quotation of Nagarjuna. He said, "Ndecha shedang timuksum teche leni migewa." So it means that Decha, desire, attachment, shedang means anger, aversion, timuk means ignorance. So these soon, dekiele. So because of that, or whatever they produce, we can say, migewa, or unvirtue. So the answer is that. So the answer is that if we want that the Dharma goes to the Dharma, it doesn't have to produce something, let's say, to make it simple, it doesn't have to produce something bad. So we can, it's quite not funny, but how it is possible that the Dharma may produce something bad? Because when we practice the Dharma, we're absolutely convinced that we are doing something good. And yes, sure, we are doing something good. But Gampapa here, and also the fourth Shamapa, he's saying that, yeah, sure, you are doing something good, but maybe not. So it's, for us, it can be quite, I don't know, quite shocking, and maybe amazing, or I don't know, quite surprising. But it starts to be interesting, in fact, because it's not that we have to practice the Dhamma, but we have to know how to practice the Dhamma. And so it means that we can become to be more thoughtful, or to look inside ourselves, to introspect, to really to check what is our motivation. And when we know that the Buddha himself insists on the intention, saying that there is only, in fact, intention. There is no acts that, or deeds that they are good in themselves, or bad in themselves, because everything depends on the intention, so the motivation. So it's quite important. When you look at Patrul Rinpoche, he will say the same thing. We have to stay at the tip of or the top of our motivation. So it means that everything, or it means that if we use the Dharma to do something else than going to the Dharma, so it's not Dharma. And so it's like saying that it's good if you practice the Dharma, but the Dharma has to be the practice of the Dharma. And this is your responsibility. It's not a burden, but it means that, okay, we have to be sure of that. We have to be sure that we are not developing desire, attachment, anger, aversion, ignorance. And we have to be sure of the contrary. We have to be sure that the Dharma we are using, it's the exact remedy of that. We see in all the text, and again in Patrul Rinpoche, when I say Patrul Rinpoche, it's in the Kunsang Lame Shalom. Maybe you heard about I think in English it's the word of my perfect teacher. It's a excellent book by Gampopa, Patrul Rinpoche. All these are absolutely excellent book. But he mentioned, he made a quotation from a sutra. I don't remember exactly which sutra it is. It's a sutra with the Buddha Kashyapa, I think. I'm not totally sure of that, but anyway. And there is an exchange between the Buddha and a certain person, realized being, and the purpose of the exchange is to say that the Dharma is the medicine. As you know, you heard of that many times. The Buddha himself, he's the physician, the doctor. The Dharma is the medicine, and we are we are sick, and we need that medicine in order to cure ourselves. And after that, Patrul Rinpoche say, we are all sick. Okay, and so when we read that sentence, I remember myself when I really read that sentence. It was maybe after reading it, I don't know how many times, but I never read that sentence. In fact, it was like if I was totally blind. And suddenly I realized that, in fact, it's the truth, not the, let's say, approximative truth or secondhand, or I don't know, just like an image. It's absolutely the reality. We are sick. I think the situation in which we are in Europe with that war, whatever we can think about that, but there is something absolutely sure. There is sickness that makes suffering, absolutely sure. So if there is no sickness in the mind, there is no suffering for ourselves and others. It's absolutely clear. And so the message, the Dharma, the teaching of the Buddha, it's clear. So we are sick, and we have to cure ourselves. Even if it's very hard to think that we are sick, because we Westerners, we always think that when we read that sentence that we are bad. But to be bad, it's not to be sick. It's absolutely not the case. So if you say to someone, okay, you're sick, it doesn't mean that you are bad. It just means that you are sick. If you are sick, so when we have a flu, we are sick. We are not bad. When we have the COVID, okay, so we are sick, we are not bad. So there is absolutely no judgment on that. Absolutely not. And it's so strange, because it's like if we judge ourselves very badly because we are sick, and we think that we have to be better, but we don't. We have to. I don't know. It's like to train ourselves with the practice of the Dharma in order to become a better human being. I'm sure we have to be a good human being. This is the main point. Sure, we have to be a good human being. But to become a good human being means to be cured. It doesn't mean to be someone else. So we'll be the same one after we'll be cured. For instance, if we imagine that in 1 hour, everyone will reach enlightenment. Pavel will reach enlightenment in 1 hour. So he will stay Pavel, he will not be someone else. It will, so it's not that he will change, his face or his voice or his words. He will just be enlightened, and cured, not sick. So it's important, because we are not, trying to transform in an ordinary way. We just try to get rid of the karma, get rid of the veils of the mind, get rid of our bad habits. In fact, get rid of whatever makes us sick. And what makes us sick are the kleshas. Only the kleshas makes us sick. The kleshas are exactly Dvecca, Shedang, Timuksum. So these three main poisons. So attachment, anger, and ignorance. And so if we get rid of that, so we can slowly make that the Dharma goes to the Dharma. So that's why he said in the commentary, thus in order to see to it that our action do not proceed in this way, means in the wrong way, so going to the ordinary dharmas or the 8 worldly dharmas. So in order not to go in that direction, in the ordinary preoccupation that we have, in fact, so the precious Gambapa said that there are 4 dharmas. And so it goes like this. So the first one is the dharma that turns toward the dharma. The second one is the dharma that dispels. The second one is the dharma that turns toward the path. The third one is the path that dispels delusions. Sure, we'll take again slowly all these dharmas and we'll see, no problem. And the fourth one is delusion that appear as wisdom. We can say that these 4 dharma are. Yes, I wanted to say that we go from something simple and to something very deep and profound. Yes, maybe we can say that, because the fourth one, delusion that appear as wisdom, is quite tough. But for us, I think they are all quite not difficult, but we have to think about. Because in fact, this is strange, because the fourth one, delusion that appear as wisdom, when we discuss, when intellectually we discuss, we can understand, we can have a theory, the delusion that appear as wisdom, we can have a theory. But it's not these 4 dharmas of Kampupa. They are not a theory. It's not that. It means that it speaks about the metamorphosis we do in ourselves, or that happen in ourselves. And for that kind of transformation, so it's not that we just have to understand. It means that we have to change. We have to change our mind in a way. I remember Lodora Sarabati. We were speaking about Lodora Sarabati before that session with Pavel, because he will give a teaching next weekend in Geneva Center. And I remember Rinpoche, once. We were like this, in the house or together, and with someone, and this person spoke about his problems and many things, and Rinpoche just said, "But change your mind," and it was very interesting, because at that moment, if you say that to someone, it can be harsh, maybe it doesn't fit with the situation, because it's too easy to say to someone, who is in the real bad situation or having a lot of problem, just, change your mind. It can be respectful sometimes, because maybe, we don't take care enough of that person. But in fact, at that moment, it was absolutely clear and absolutely right. It was clear that this was the solution. Change your mind. And in fact, these four dharma, the four dharmas they exist in order to change our mind. We have to change our mind. So just to say that the first dharma, the dharma that turns toward the dharma, it's not because it's the first one that it's the simple. Sometimes my English. Anyway, it's not the easy one, easiest one, and the second one a little bit more difficult, and the third one again. I think, I don't know for you, but for me, I don't understand them in that way. I understand them like, change your mind at any step. Change your mind when you practice the Dharma, in order that the Dharma become the Dharma. Change your mind that the Dharma become the path, and change your mind again that the path dispel the delusion, and change your mind in order that delusion appear as wisdom. In fact, for the four Dharma are not only 4 steps. Sure, there are 4 steps, but there are a revolution of the mind, totally. Because usually, if I don't think about that, I just practice the Dharma, but I have to change my mind in order that the Dharma goes to the Dharma. I have to change my mind that the Dharma becomes really the path. Otherwise, no, impossible. And third one, the path that dispel delusion. So I have also to change my mind, because maybe the path can produce delusion. It's absolutely possible. We see many cases like this. Sometimes. Yeah, and anyway, we have example of that. We have example ourselves also. So myself, when I think about myself, so sometimes I'm not completely sure that the path dispel delusion, because I have a lot of delusions. So maybe there is something wrong. I don't know, but there is not something wrong in the Dharma. There is something wrong in myself. How it is possible that I have a lot of anger, a lot of attachment, not enough compassion, love, and so, okay, this is my problem. But not to think that I'm bad. Again, I'm not bad. It's not that I'm bad. I need help. I need to change my mind. I need to change the way I'm using the path in order to dispel illusions. So delusions. And so this is good news, in fact, because slowly I can really use the path for that. And delusion that appear as wisdom, you imagine. So this is a big change also in your mind, in our mind, in my mind. It means that I have to, not only that I have to, but I can consider that my kleshas, in fact, are not really kleshas. So I have to change my mind in the sense that I have to change the way in which I perceive these delusions. And so it means that I have to stop thinking that I'm bad. I have to see the potential in myself, even if I'm totally lost. So, because delusions that appear as wisdom means that also. We'll see in detail. But this is a general reflection. I drink a little bit of tea. But if you want to say something, you can, no problem. I just take 1 minute. Or otherwise, I go like this. Hello, Savannah. How are you, Savannah?
I'm good, and you? How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine, thank you. You check my English, and Savannah, because I know you are very good in that. So like that, you can help me improving.
With great joy, I'd be happy to assist.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. There is Heather also. Hello, Heather. I don't see you because, but yeah, because on my computer, yeah, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so hey, hello there. Hello, it's nice. Yeah, it's nice to see you. So just to know, it makes sense for you when I say change your mind. You perceive a little bit this, or I think you perceive, but if not, you tell me, because just to say that we are not the point. What I want to say is it's that these 4 dharmas are not just a list, or like step, not linked together. Sure, we have to understand and understand them in their proper way, but there is a link, and the link is, for myself, the link is to change our mind. So the first, the Dharma that turns toward the Dharma, Chu Sudowa. So I already said a few words about that, but here in the commentary we say, furthermore, the Dharma that turns toward the Dharma is twofold: turning toward a worldly Dharma and turning toward the Dharma of Nirvana. And so it's interesting because it say that, yeah, sure, we can turn in toward the Dharma, but there is 2 Dharma. Also the worldly Dharma. Here, maybe first I read the sentence in Tibetan, so like that, it's good for us just to get the blessing of the 4th Karma parent. Tela jikten de chusu doa ni teyan chiwa mi takpa kowa le de kone yi chi pe chiwa chi ma ngen sung dunga la jikta ne karpu ga wa chi chi wa tam chi jikten chi ma ngen sung go kek de. So first he said, turning toward a worldly Dharma, due to the confidence that arises from understanding death and impermanence, and definitely understanding action and effect, one panics about the suffering of the lower realm to be experienced in future rebirth, and considers that all positive virtue one does will block the door of the lower realm of the world hereafter. So so we go back to the motivation. So it means that this is like saying that we understand the Dharma as a way of escaping. It's it's a sort of please help me, so we just want to run in a way. And it's interesting because it is said that due to the confidence that arises from understanding death and impermanence, and definitely understand action and effect, one panics about the suffering of the lower realm. Okay, so for us Westerners, maybe we if we are, I don't know, Buddhist since many years, so it can be clear that there is other realms of existence. For myself, it's absolutely clear, but it was not always the case because we have to figure out, the animals, we see the animals, okay, but after, some people, they have visions of ghosts and so on, but not all of us. And after, hell realms, so for this is quite difficult because maybe we think that no, it doesn't exist, and it's really bullshit and just Catholic stuff, and we don't see the point. Okay, we can perceive things in that way, and doesn't matter, it will change, and we'll speak about that too. But for us, because when the fourth Shamapa wrote this commentary, so for him it was very clear that everyone around him was perceiving or thinking in the same way. So for all of them, it was very clear that there is lower realms of existence. So he saw a lot of them, I don't know, friends or monks or people, usually ordinary people, really trying to escape these lower realms and developing the practice of the Dharma very hard in order to escape. Okay, but for us, symbolically, we can say that even if sometimes we don't have this perception or world vision of the lower realms, if we are new Buddhists, or even sometimes when we are Buddhists, and there is old Buddhists also that I know some of them. They are very good practitioners, but for them, all these lower realms of existence are totally bullshit. So they don't want to take care of that. Absolutely not. But the point remains. So it means that are we using the Dharma to escape something or not? And this is interesting, because it's interesting to see that we can even have a clear understanding of death and impermanence, and maybe because that clear understanding of death, impermanence, and karma, we're sure, definitely, it's absolutely sure for us. So we have to escape. And on a way, for the fourth Shamapa, it doesn't mean it's not totally good. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's not totally good. It means it's not the perfect way of doing. But for us, it can be also useful. It's not that it's bad because we're trying to escape. It's just maybe a first step of understanding. For us, to be convinced that there is death, impermanence, that there is actions and effects, and it matter, it's so important. So important because, we have to be sure of that. You just imagine now this war in Ukraine, in Europe, or everywhere. It can be everywhere. It means that people, they think that it's okay. I can arm the other one and there is good consequences. But no, there is no good consequences. Never. So action and effect means it will always be the same. So bad action will lead to suffering. Good action will lead to good results. That's all. This is the law of universe. We cannot change that. So it means that we have to be totally faithful, truthful. I don't know. We have to be clear and totally clear. But if one panics, about the suffering, we say in Tibetan, jigta. Jigta means really to fear, only to fear. So if maybe the point here is the fear. It means that understanding that death and impermanence are clear we cannot change something with that. We cannot change something with the law of karma. We have to respect it. So we have to use it in a proper way, not to panic. And so this is interesting for us because we don't have to panic. We don't have to panic thinking that we have to escape from a lower rebirth. And we don't have to panic thinking that it's awful. We have to use it instead of panicking. So it means that we have to use death, impermanence, and karma in a proper way, as an inspiration, as a way to practice the Dharma, to go deeper, many things. We'll need that, absolutely. So again, so this is important because it goes back to the motivation. And so he said after, Tori hla lu ni lu number tak pa tang hlai dewa tang mi dewa tang le lung chu nge par to par de pe che tu che pa tam chi rani chi po shi de jikten pe chu su joai. All that is done on account of desiring definitely to attain the higher realms, perfect humans, and godly bodies, the well-being of gods and humans, as well as the enjoyments of gods and humans, peace and well-being for oneself alone, constitute turning toward worldly Dharma. So it's interesting to notice that in the Dharma, in the Buddhist countries, like in Tibet and everywhere, you can see a lot of texts that they, let's say, respect that we can have different aim. So wishing just that sometimes can be considered that okay, almost okay. Almost possible. Yeah, it's possible because we're a human being, and so sometimes we fear something and we want better condition. It's not bad. It's not absolutely bad. So okay, we can say, or we can understand that sometimes we have this kind of motivation. But here it is said that, peace and well-being for oneself alone. So this is the main point. It's not that we don't have to be in a good situation. If someone says or think that, it will be contrary to the Dharma itself, because we need to have good conditions. It's very difficult to practice the Dharma today if you live in Kiev, and I think it's more comfortable for us to practice the Dharma right now here, seated where we are seated, or living where we are living. So good conditions are really important. We cannot say it doesn't matter. It's impossible. It matters, absolutely. But if we look for that or seek for that, for this peace and well-being for oneself alone, so it means that the Dharma that doesn't go to the Dharma. So it's clear, absolutely clear. So, but again, here, but there is another point. It means that we expect a fruit. So it means that we do the Dharma and we expect that fruit. It's like a reward, thinking that, okay, we'll be paid for our efforts. If you are kind, so you will be a god. And sometimes it's a little bit, let's say, childish, but it's not to be unrespectful, because sometimes we're like this. Sometimes we're like kid, we just want, we want, I don't know, something to eat, if you're good, so you will get some sugar, So this is our sugar, thinking that I do to practice the Dhamma and I will get something. So it means again that for us, wow, what are my expectation, what are my desire when I practice the Dhamma? I am looking for something. I am looking for a certain state of mind, become someone different. So I'm saying this because otherwise, we get stuck in this problem of God's higher realms of existence, lower realms of existence, and we don't adapt this to our life, thinking that this is not our problem, because for us it's clear. I'm not, because we are not in that culture, so for us, we can say, no, it's easy because no, I never think that I will become a god, Sure, because we are not in a culture that says you have to become this or that, and but we are also in a culture that says you have to become this and that. Maybe we don't say you have to become a god, but we say something else. But and so if we don't check, maybe we are using the Dharma in the same way, thinking that we'll get something. What we'll get, maybe, I don't know. It's interesting to try to just to imagine if we were in that situation, if we were that person. So what will wish for, because, okay, we don't expect to be Brahma, to be Indra, because, or to be a god. I don't know one. There is a lot, in that culture. So what do we expect? We expect maybe to be, I don't know, to be a great master, to be, I don't know. So it means that we have to check, we have to see. And we have to see if these goals that we may have produce in ourselves the idea of, I will get peace, well-being for myself, And if it's the case, so the Dharma turn to worldly Dharma practice. So there is another way to turn the Dharma, to use the Dharma, toward the Dharma of Nirvana. Nyange le debe che. It's interesting. It means that the Dharma of Nirvana. Really, it's the first time I see this in a commentary. It's not usual expression, Nyange le debe che. But it's beautiful. Nyange le debe che means the Dharma of Nirvana. I don't know for you, but I never heard Dharma of Nirvana. So it means that the first is the Jikten Vechu, so we know that this is the worldly Dharma, and the other one is the Nyangen Lede Vechu, the Dharma of Nirvana. So the Dharma of Nirvana, turning, so first in Tibetan, it says, Korwa tada gi nyemi kone, la hu mi lu la tang mi lung chu, kan lai yang, ma shin pa cha ne, 주고 이묵 중 코로아메도 다부고 쓰라 쭌덩 은문바 문룸 밑성외 담잡 다부고 so turning toward the so-called Dharma of Nirvana means, so understanding the shortcomings of cycle of existence as a whole. One, therefore, neither cling to nor is attached to any of the bodies or enjoyments of gods, human, whatsoever, but feels disgusted by them. Despair is gaining ground. Cyclic existence is understood to be like a fire pit. It is understood to be like a prison, a dungeon, a dark cavity, and a filthy swamp. So, okay. So for us, it's not very easy either, because we have to know how to use that. It's not easy, because we need this Dharma of Nirvana, absolutely. But for that, we have to understand the shortcoming of cycle of existence. as a whole, in order that we neither cling to nor is attached to any of the bodies of or enjoyments of gods and human whatsoever. So so it means, again, here we mention attachment, cling or attach. Okay. So the proposition or invitation is to understand that if we're clear about the cycle of existence, so we can get rid of the cycle of existence. It means that we have to see clearly. So if we have to see clearly, it means that before we didn't see clearly. Because before we thought that there is somewhere in our understanding of life, there is somewhere a good place to be. You know, there is somewhere very comfortable. And because of that, thinking like that, so we get attached to that purpose, to that image, to that understanding. So it means at that moment, it says that if you really want to go further, you have to be critical to your own system of thoughts, your own representation of the world. And it's quite tough because it means that we have to go back, not only checking the motivation that we have, thinking that, okay, if I don't have the good motivation, so the Dharma doesn't go to the Dharma. But it means that even if you practice the Dharma really sincerely, you know, you still may have something in you that think that there is something somewhere, something that you can get, you know, in this cycle of existence. Because, you know, we have to remember that in the first part, we're not saying, these are the bad practitioner, you know, those they use the worldly Dharma. We just have to remember one thing. In the description here, in the commentary, the fourth Shamarpa says that those persons that use the Dharma not in order to go to the Dharma are totally convinced by death and impermanence and the law of karma. Are we? Are we totally convinced by death, impermanence, and law of karma? Maybe, but maybe not. So we have to be clear. So it means that even those, let's say, bad practitioners, we may think there are, you know, the other one, because sure, ourselves, we're not the bad guy. We're good. We're doing the practice, yeah, in a very good way. Okay, no problem. But we have to think a little bit more, because I don't know if myself, I can say that I'm totally convinced by death and impermanence and totally convinced by the law of karma. If it would be the case, so I will be far more better than I'm now. You know, I will be another human being. I will be Milarepa. Yeah, okay, Milarepa is said, if you there is different version of the life of Milarepa, but I don't know if you noticed that at the beginning. I don't know, maybe in the French version, you find this in the, yeah, I don't know, maybe page 20, 25, 30, I don't know, but at the beginning of the story. And once the disciple of Milarepa said to him, because first they asked Milarepa, please, you know, please tell us your story. We want to know it. And okay, they insist. And after they say, but Milarepa, yourself, you are such a great master, so you have to tell us, you know, what emanation, you know, what is your emanation? So, you know, you're which Buddha are you? Something, you know. Maybe you are an emanation of, I don't know, Vairocana, Amitabha, whoever, you know. Who are you, in fact? And Milarepa has this answer, quite surprising. And he said, yeah, it seems that your devotion is great, but we cannot find more wrong understanding that what you are expressing. And it's quite incredible, because we have to remember that these disciples are not just, little guys. There are like Rechungpa, Severepa, Chiwarepa, but I mean, all accomplished master, they were excellent. And so Milarepa slashed them, saying that your devotion is amazing. Wow, beautiful. But you understand nothing in the Dharma. This is the wrongest, I don't know how to say in English. It's the more bad you can imagine. The vision, your vision is totally wrong. Totally wrong. And why? And he continued, because you didn't understand that what I became, the Milarepa I am now, it's because I was totally convinced of the death, impermanence, and karma. Exactly this. Because I saw that the acts I produced in my life, killing 25 people, it depends the amount in different version, but anyway, a lot, Personally, I killed no one, but Milarepa killed 25 or 35, anyway, a lot. And he said that because I'm totally convinced that this is not very good, and I really have to purify myself, so I was looking for the Dharma and practicing the Dharma. This is the only reason. So I'm not an emanation of whoever. So it's incredible, because, he's saying that you have to be convinced, and he said that if you are convinced as I am convinced, so you will become like me. And I remember once in the retreat, I was speaking with Lama Sangpo, and we were speaking about that. And I said to him, Milarepa, yes, but I'm not Milarepa, and this is clear. And he said, yeah, but it depends on you. And it was clear, and I was just, wow, yeah, in fact, it depends on me. I can become Milarepa. I can, but I'm not. So it means that if now, I'm speaking to you, I'm not Milarepa. So it means that I am still not convinced of death, impermanence, and karma. And if it were the case, so I will be totally different. This was the answer of Milarepa to his disciple, saying that if it were the case, so you will be like me. It will be maybe you that you will speak to me. Anyway, it will be the contrary. And so it's interesting, because here we don't have to think that, okay, these bad guys, they are not practicing well the Dharma, because they just want to look after, to become Brahma, let's say, or to become someone, I don't know, a great practitioner, whatever the aim, and they don't have a bodhicitta answer. Yeah, but they are convinced of death, impermanence, and karma. And so maybe they are using this conviction in a wrong way. Okay, this is possible, but they are convinced. So are we convinced? Are we really? I'm not sure. If I, and it's for me, it's a challenge every day. Really, I don't know for you, but for me, it's a challenge every day. Am I really aware of my coming death that can arise today? In 1 hour, I can be dead. And so what I'm doing with that, I'm sure of that. And I'm sure of the law of karma. Law of karma means everything counts. Acts of body, mind, thought, mind and words, it's difficult to say I'm totally convinced. If I'm, so I will change, definitely. So there is thoughts I will never have. There is words I will never say. There is acts I will never do. So again, it's not to say I am bad, because otherwise there is no way out. So I have to stop thinking that I'm bad. I have to be compassionate with me. I have to take care of myself, help myself, so like that I can help others. Really, I have to see myself not in a bad way, just really with a tremendous amount of love, thinking, oh, Jean-Marc, you still you have to, you have to understand, and you have to make the path. You have to be more convinced. You have to change. You have to open your mind. And so I have to say that to myself. Otherwise, I'm just thinking that I'm bad, not enough good. And this is the worldly dilemma, the worldly dharma. I'm not enough good, And so if I think in that way, I cannot get out of this process of thinking, this way of thinking and perceiving. And it's terrible, It's not that I have become better, because I'm not bad. I just have to take care of myself with a lot of love and compassion, thinking that, like Milarepa speaking to his disciple, saying, you are good, you have faith, you are good with me, but you don't understand the point. You didn't understand the point. The point is to be really convinced in order that you start to change. So I have to change.
Yeah, Mark, I have one question about this topic.
Yeah.
First of all, is something like for me, it's like everyone, I think I'm struggling with. First of all, when I'm reading the life stories of all these Mahasiddhas and yogis, for sure, Milarepa, when he has rebirth in this world, he was not an ordinary being. Obviously, he had accumulation, from previous lives, and his understanding is not the same understanding as ordinary people could have, even if in the story they want to show us that they were suffering as us, but they come from different background, no? And my question is, also when you say that we can't meditating, we need good conditions for practicing. Also, the stories of many yogis and so on, like they are seeking for bad conditions to check their mind. Like they don't want to be in a nice situation because they can check better the mind under tough conditions. And my question is, because as I daily go, my motivation is to develop Dharma, develop myself, but I get distracted with many things, And I know in the retreat you do. I think you take each of the 4 basic thoughts and you reflect from them for a period of time. My question is, how you consider is the most effective way to develop this right understanding of the impermanence. What this could be, I know, reflecting, aspiration, but could you tell me or somehow a methodology or something like one should do to really go deeper into that? Because after so many years in Dharma, not so many years, but if I see my life are many years, still I don't get it, and I'm sure it's because I didn't apply the right method enough. It's not because I'm not able to do it. It's because I didn't get the way to do it properly. It's a long question, but I mean.
No, but it's a very interesting question. I think first that to answer to the first part of your remark or question, but it's also a way of sharing. And thank you for sharing your understanding. It's important. I think that I have a little different understanding about Milarepa, even the Buddha or whoever. Yes, sure, they have different potential. This is definitely sure, but they really face obstacles or difficulties in a real way. It's not said just for us to make us understanding. I'm totally convinced that for the Buddha, he was really trapped in his palace. He had to understand something. Milarepa himself also. But the difference, it's that they have the potential to understand. Sometimes we don't have the potential to understand. So we suffer, but we don't understand why we suffer. So this is the main difference. So having the potential means also having the possibility of understanding why we are suffering. That's why it's very important to be together, because together we are more intelligent, we are more wise, so we can help each other to understand why we are suffering. Otherwise, we never know. We suffer from something, we don't know the cause of this suffering, and it's terrible because we miss the point. So this is the first thing, and and this is important because sure, they have greater possibilities. So that's why we have to, and I think this is the message of Milarepa. We have to develop in ourselves the possibilities of or whatever it needs to make us capable, able to understand quickly, to really understand the point. And so that's why we practice the Dharma and so on. And so it goes to the point, to the last part of your question. So how it is possible that after all these years, it's still difficult for me to, I can say the same thing, I think we are together. We are all together. I don't know, maybe among us, there is someone that can say, oh yeah, for me, it's very easy. Perfect, huh? It will be great. But it's not that easy, to be totally convinced. Again, that's why this text, it's interesting, because we can be convinced and using that conviction in a wrong way. So first, we have to be convinced. Secondly, we don't have to think that we have to escape. So, maybe we are convinced, but we still want to escape. And so that's why in the commentary, he goes further, and he goes to understanding the shortcoming of cycle of existence as a whole. So this is, I think, if we understand correctly what it means, the shortcomings of cycle existence as a whole, so maybe there is here quite a solution. Because, for instance, we can have a reflection about the defects of shortcomings of cycle of existence, but we still continue to think that we're speaking about external situation, like there is something wrong in the cycle of existence, but we don't perceive the real wrongness, we can say, or the real mistake. And the mistake goes very deep. It goes to our belief, because we can be, for instance, to make it clear, we can be absolutely convinced by death and impermanence, but we continue to perceive the solidity of things. for instance. And it's very difficult to get rid of that, because if we go very deep in death and impermanence, it means that we understand that everything is changing right now, at any moment. So it means that we go deeper in the understanding of the nature of phenomena. That's why, for instance, the nine Karmapa in the commentary of on Chandrakirti, entering in the middle path, he said that realizing the emptiness, it's the key for everything. It's the pure remedy for all our afflictions. And it's very interesting because it means that we have to go deeper in our understanding of impermanence, for instance, because we can think, for instance, yes, I'm impermanent and everything is impermanent, but it's not only that kind of impermanence I have to understand. It means I really have to understand that phenomena, they don't exist as I think, and to try to make it, to make that that understanding something real for me. So I have to perceive myself. In order to make it real for me, I have to perceive my own confusion. If I don't see my confusion, if I don't see myself grasping to things, thinking they are real, so I don't understand how much I'm in fact convinced that thing they really exist. So so I can say I'm impermanent, but I still think that there is something permanent. So it means that these shortcomings of cycles of existence, that's why they are in these texts, they go, they use, very strong images, they say, it's we have to, disgust by them. So it's, thinking that it's like a fire pit, like a prison, like a dungeon, like a dark cavity, a filthy swamp. So it's wow, it's not good. So it means that we have to be totally convinced. If we are totally convinced, so if we reflect of the cycle of existence, really, so if we reflect, I don't know, to the way we are doing, the way we're conceiving, perceiving, so we can start to understand how we do. So, for instance, practice of meditation. Maybe we want to be quiet, for instance, to calm the mind. This is good, but the main point is to see our confusion. If we don't see our confusion, and I don't know, but for me, this is really important, and I think it can change. If I see my confusion, so I can start to really, I have to say, seeing my confusion, it means that I have to see my beliefs, what in what I'm believing, but really to see it clearly, and it takes time. And it takes me, it's not finished. I have to be really, to check really clearly, but in what I'm believing, in fact, really, because it's exactly what you said. So you reflect on impermanence, but still you are maybe not totally convinced. So what is the trick? So the trick is to see, but in what are you believing? Maybe you believe in something, and because you believe, because I believe in something, it's our beliefs that blocks us to understand properly the Dharma. It's only this. That's why Milarepa said to his disciple, it's not that you are not devoted. You have full of devotion, but you miss the point. So your beliefs are not good. You believe in the wrong way, So it means if I really want to change, I have to see I'm believing in what, and it can be quite maybe difficult, because I don't want to see that. I don't want to check, really. but I believe, maybe I don't know even in what I'm believing. If I don't ask to myself, for instance, you say something very honest, you know, and I'm also trying to be very honest, you know, and you say, okay, all these years, but still, it's, you know, it's not coming as you want to that it comes, you know, but okay, maybe you, me, and all of us were believing in something, and we don't want to get rid of that belief, you know, and because of that. There is something that, there is a sort of, something that blocks us. So first we have to see, you know, okay, we think about impermanence, but we believe in something. In what are we believing? You know, what are my beliefs? I think, because otherwise, you know, I will say to you, I will answer to your question saying you have to think in that way. And if you think in that way, so you will get the result. Maybe this is your belief. I don't know. Maybe you believe that if you know the trick, so it will be good. So, you know, and we never escape of our system. We are always trapped in our system because we say, yeah, I need the good trick. If I have the good trick, but maybe no, maybe we don't need the good trick. Maybe we don't need the good system. Maybe we don't need the good method. Maybe we just have to perceive what we are doing. I am always looking at the good thing. I don't know, you know, it's not to say that you are acting like this or I am acting like this. It means that the point is to see in ourselves how I act, you know, what I'm believing. Because what I'm saying this, it's not because, you know, I myself has to say something. It's just because in the commentary, it goes to that point. He said, but what are you believe? You know, because first he say, you believe that become God will be the solution? No. You believe that, clear, death and impermanence exist, so this is the solution? No. You believe that karma, it's absolutely sure? No, it's not the solution. Because you continue to use these convictions, these faith in a wrong way. So the Dharma doesn't go to the Dharma. So he said that, okay, so you have to see the shortcoming of cycle of existence. So what does it mean? You have to see the main point. So in what are you believing? If you believe that there is something in this cycle of existence that represents the solution, so maybe you can be wrong. So it means that you really have, he said, you know, we can be attached to the solution, for instance, you know, because he said, yeah, maybe this is our way to be in a good place. Maybe we want to be in a good place. I don't know. When I read that text, I hear it's not that, okay, I have to think now that the samsara is bad. No, it means that but it took me years to understand this. It's a really small understanding, but now I understand this kind of teaching, saying that, but in what are you believing? You know, or what? Yeah, how you perceive things. It's not that I have to perceive samsara as bad, but I have to understand in myself how you perceive.
Yeah, Mark. But okay, this I understood one point, but my question is about the beliefs, you know, because
Okay.
I'm wondering, and I'm telling about the story of Milarepa, if Milarepa renounced to the world because he was reflecting a lot about his beliefs and what he did in his past, or also it was more because he already saw the delusion as appearing as wisdom in certain level, that he could change his behavior so deeply, you know. Because my question is to really because I want to be like Milarepa, you know. And my question is to be like Milarepa, I should reflect more the understanding, or is more coming from the experience of the delusion, or experiencing the wisdom, which is in part also of the delusion part.
Yeah.
The same. And
yeah,
this
you're
is,
right.
and this is for me where I'm wondering, because I want to put my energy in something which for me could be the most effective. Again, is, as you say, is not the trick, but do you think the beliefs are changing because of reflecting, or the change of the belief is coming more of the experience of the delusion as wisdom, you know?
I think both. That's why there is this teaching of Gampopa, you know. He teaches how to recognize things in a more effective way. And so sure, it will really help us, but it will help us to see more deeply to what we experiment. Because in Milarepa's case, it means that something crashed down for him, something ended. So it means that all what he done, at one point, he really understood that, okay, this was not the way. So it means that at one point, there is a reflection in him that makes him changing totally, on also observing in another way what he was doing before, you know. And but to observe in another way, as you said, we also have we also need an understanding, like you know, seeing delusion as wisdom and things like that. But for Milarepa, you know, we need that. But for Milarepa, maybe, you know, he went very deep in the mistake, let's say, you know. And so because of that, he really reached the point where it's impossible to believe that there is a solution in this. But we still think that there is a solution in that wrong path. And for him, it's finished. So Gampopa here, he tried to help us to go quicker, not to go through that difficult path, and to see immediately that we don't have to go in that shit, you know. We don't have to kill 25 people in order to understand that we don't have to. And hopefully we don't have to. Otherwise, it will be awful. It means that in order to become Milarepa, we'll have to live a life like Milarepa. And this is so difficult, you know. We cannot do that. So it means it's exactly what you said. So that's why I think the Gampopa, he's helping us first to experiment what we experiment, and to see what is our system of belief. So I think it's really important. And also he's helping us in order to be efficient in that analysis, we can say, saying that finally even the delusion can become wisdom, because this will be the last point of transforming our belief. Otherwise, we will continue to perceive, for instance, you know, we all meditate, and mainly we meditate thinking that we have to get rid of thoughts. We are totally convinced of that. And so Grandpapa said, this is the wrong way. If you meditate thinking that one day you will not have thoughts, so you're totally wrong. It will never happen. And so that's why he's saying this. So he's saying that we have to change totally the way we understand. But anyway, I don't know if it's helping you, but I think Milarepa, he really took the hard way, and finally he understood. And hopefully we don't have to go to that hard way. We have to use we have to use the difficulties that we have in order to see how we react. What is our system of belief, and using this kind of teaching of Milarepa, of Grandpapa, to seeing more quickly, more efficiently in our system. I will say that. I don't know. Otherwise, I don't know.
Yeah, and to finish, because I think Eider also has a question. To finish and connecting with the thing you say in the beginning about the Guru Yoga. And what also Buddha said, that we are sick. Do you think the answer of the treatment for my sickness should come from the doctor, should come from the teacher? The teacher should give me the remedy, or how you will connect the problem? With this.
Yeah, sure. It's a very interesting question. Recently, I saw a situation, very interesting situation. Clearly, from someone, a mistake was done, and so this person, totally convinced that his system of thinking is good, so thought that he was absolutely right. But in fact, it was totally obvious that he was totally wrong, So in that case, it means that if by chance this person can understand that he was wrong, he can say sorry. Really, I was not good. Sorry. But for this person, it's absolutely impossible. And maybe even if I speak with that person, this person will never understand. So I don't know what makes him understanding. I think it makes him understanding that he was wrong only if he consider the suffering of himself, the situation. If I'm sick, even if someone tell me you're sick, I can pretend I'm not sick. And this is the case. The person will say, no, I'm not sick. But to understand if I'm sick or not, I have to see, just to perceive my situation. So that's what the Buddha said. The first noble truth, it's the truth of dukkha. He said, if you don't look, you are suffering, you will never understand that you suffer. So first I have to understand that. So it's not to say that I have to go to that person and say to that person, oh, you were wrong. You done something bad. Maybe it's more efficient to say, are you feeling okay with this? You feel good? You feel happy? If that person say, no, in fact, I'm not feeling happy because I'm very angry, and I will say, okay, so maybe there is something wrong. that person will say, no, I'm feeling very angry because all those bastards, they were very bad with me. And again, I will say, but if you feel bad, if you feel angry, it means that there is something inside you that makes you angry. So I think the teaching of the Buddha, but it's interesting for us. There is many interesting things in the teaching of the Buddha, but it's to say that if you don't look at your own situation, so you will never know that you are suffering. Never. So if I'm sick and I cannot breathe, I cannot walk, I cannot run, I cannot, I'm full of sickness. If I don't look at this, and if I'm not saying, yes, in fact, I'm suffering, so I will never understand that there is something wrong. So it's incredible. You can find people, they really suffer, but they think it's okay. They think it's okay. They think it's just normal they suffer. They are very angry. They sat alone in their corner, full of anger, but they think it's okay because the world are very bad. So they have a reason to stay in their corner with their anger. So it's not to say they are bad. It's just to say to them, but maybe you feel not comfortable, no? And if they start to see that, yes, it's not really comfortable, because really, it's really pissed me off, So if they can say that, we can say, okay, so there is a start. So maybe we can see why, Otherwise, it's impossible. So I think, to go back to your question, yeah, we need good doctor, we need good medicine. Maybe we need someone who say, maybe you are sick, sure, but I have to check. If I don't check, I will never believe I'm sick. Never, never. If you give me good advice for my diet, yeah, very good. But if I don't perceive myself, like I need something, so it will be good advices. That's all, And I have to experience the shortcomings of my situation. That's why it's interesting, perceiving the shortcoming of cycle of existence doesn't mean that I have to look outside. I have to look in my own system of producing suffering. If I don't look in my own system of producing suffering, I will never understand the truth of suffering. Impossible. It will always be something external. So that's why the Buddha said that. The Buddha didn't say the cycle of existence is suffering just to give us a bad news. He said that just to make us understanding that we are in that. Karmapa said, there is not the karma on myself. We are absolutely the same thing. We are, undifferentiated with the karma. It's a way of saying we are undifferentiated with the cycle of existence, because there is no cycle of existence without karma. So cycle of existence are ourselves. Cycle of existence is the system of producing our own suffering. Otherwise, there is no cycle of existence. So I think we have to check. We have to check if I don't feel good, if I suffer, and I'm suffering. If I suffer, so there is something in my system that makes me suffering, that makes me suffer. Otherwise, impossible. And so the answer of all the bodhisattvas are different. Sure, they think, but it's not a problem. It's not just a suffering. It's always an occasion of developing bodhicitta. So this is a huge difference. I don't know, but I think, yeah, shortcoming of cycle of existence, it has to become something that we perceive in ourselves. Otherwise, we'll never see the cycle of existence, and we will never know that we are sick, and we'll never know that we are in a system of sickness, producing sickness. I don't know. But again, it's not to say we are bad. It's just to say that we are in a bad system. It's not we that we are bad. It's just the system we produce. It's not good. Yeah, I don't know. I think next time we can again we'll go again to this shortcoming of cycle of existence, how we can understand this, because I think it's a main point. No, I don't know. Maybe we stop here, even if we are frustrated a little bit, because we want maybe to understand better. And I don't know. Okay. Yeah, and there you have to go. Sure, I see.
Can I ask a last question to the beliefs?
Yeah, sure, Nikki. Okay.
Does it make sense to work with the beliefs, to find out who are my beliefs, or just in case I'm angry or I'm in a emotion to ask myself what is my belief behind, or to go on a journey to find out what they are? What is my belief to family, to relationship, to kids, everything?
No, I don't know exactly, but I think again, if I start with the experience that I have, so for instance, it's when I say suffering, it's very interesting because it's really concrete, it's really clear. You know, you experiment this, I experiment also this. So we experience something very similar. In the form, it can be very different, but we know what it is to be frustrated. That we know that. So it means that if I go back to this really carefully, with a lot of care, with a lot of love and compassion to myself, I can ask myself, but why are you suffering like this? So in what are you believing? Yeah, and I can start to ask myself. I don't know if this is the answer to your question, but I think to use the circumstances can be very useful. Just to see, just to make the list of my belief can be very difficult, because I don't know exactly. But when I have an interaction with someone, if I perceive a suffering in myself, for instance, it's simple. If I have a conflict with someone, I can think about this conflict again and again. Even if it calms down, I will again think about. If I think about, it means that there is something in myself that it's not at ease, and I will think, yeah, but he done that, he's very bad. This is the sign that there is something in myself. Maybe the other guy, he's not good. Yeah, okay, possible. But there is something in myself that it's, I'm continuing, thinking that, no, he done something bad, So it means that there is something. Maybe, I don't know, I don't know what I was believing, but there is something. So it means that it blocks me having more compassion for that. Because if I'm right, and if the other one made really something bad, so normally I should have compassion. Normally I should have a real understanding. But in myself, something is blocking me to have this genuine compassion. So I'm still thinking that, yeah, but he really, it's really bad what he done, you know, and I cannot get rid of that thought, you know. It comes again, it comes again, it comes again. So it means that, yeah, I have to continue to reflect on that.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, no, otherwise, you know, the solution is compassion, love and compassion. This is really the solution for everything. But so it means that if I don't answer with that, it means that, okay, it's not bad. It's just the sign that I really have to, I really have to think about. I really have to, I don't know, maybe, you know, sometimes I can be angry because, you know, he done that, but maybe it's just because I wanted to be loved by that person. I even don't know, you know. I really have to take care of myself. But it's not cocooning. It's just to say, if I suffer, so there is a system of suffering. So I think this is really interesting in Buddha's teaching, because all his teaching, it's to say that there is suffering, there is causes, there is possibility not to suffer, and there is a way to use in order that there is no suffering. So it means he analyzed the system of suffering. It's not a philosophy of suffering. It's an understanding of the system. So it means that at my very little level, I also have to understand my little samsara, you know. And from that, I can find solution, maybe.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So, friends, maybe we stop, otherwise we'll never stop. It's okay for you? Okay. Okay for you also, Paula? Yeah? Okay. So maybe we stop with the dedication of the merits, and yeah, it's important because we were trying our best to understand the Dharma, and it's good, and so this is full of good virtue. So we give that good virtue to all sentient beings. Sonam de tam che zing pa ne tam ne nye pe ra nam pa de ke ga na che ba la tru pa yi se pe tso le do wa do ra shu. Okay, friends, thank you very much. I hope it's okay for you. Today I was a little bit too much long. We'll try to make shorter comment because, you know, hello, LA. Nice to meet you. Okay. Yeah, all the best, and see you. I don't know. Next weekend we discuss about that before. Next weekend we have Lodro Rapsa Rinpoche, so I will be fully booked with Lodro Rapsa Rinpoche's teaching during the weekend. You can attend to that teaching, of course, no problem. But we can also, I will discuss with Pavel to find another moment, maybe to meet each other.
We would talk. I think
yeah,
group of things, and also about the teaching from Rinpoche, from Lodro Rapsa Rinpoche.
What you said? Okay.
No,
okay.
We will see what is fitting for you and all, and about the teachings of the next weekend. They will be in Tibetan translated into French, but maybe maybe it will not happen.
She cannot.
Okay.
So but maybe we can find another solution. Maybe there will.
Yeah, then maybe we'll find some possible translators, And
Yeah.
then we could have the teaching from Rinpoche also translated into English, and we will try to find how to do it.
Okay, we'll see.
No expectation,
We'll see.
but could happen.
Yeah, no problem. And anyway, we'll we can make the wish to have the opportunity to meet together, and it will be a pleasure to try to understand the Dharma together. It's good. It helps me a lot. Thank you very much. Okay, so all the best. I will.
Thank you.
Press. Thank you to you. I will press on the red button, end with Zoom, So take care, friends.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Merci.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Merci à vous. Merci.